Let's talk about that magnetic pull of our screens. You know what I mean? Today, we're going to deconstruct those digital trends that just grab our attention and refuse to let go. We're going to explore the powerful forces, both in our own psychology and in the tech we use, that make it feel almost impossible to look away. I mean, it's a feeling we all know, right? You're just deep in a scroll session. Maybe you're watching video after video of the mannequin challenge, or you're seeing endless versions of that distracted boyfriend meme pop up. You know you should probably stop, but you just can't. So what is it? What makes this stuff so absolutely irresistible? To really get our heads around this, we're going to break it down into 4 parts. First, we'll look at that initial psychological spark that first grabs you. Then we'll see how that spark explodes, thanks to the power of the crowd. After that, we're going to pull back the curtain on the code that's literally fueling the fire. And finally, we'll ask a tough question. What's the real cost of being so hooked? So, where does it all begin? Before any trend can go viral, it has to hook just one person, you. It all starts in that single moment of capture. And it turns out, our own brains are kind of perfectly primed for it. Okay, this gets right down to our basic wiring. Our brains are basically novelty-seeking machines. They are constantly on the lookout for what's new and different. But it's not just about seeing something new, it's about feeling something new. Disinformation campaigns, for example, are absolute masters at this. They use these high-intensity emotions like fear or confusion to make their messages stickier, more potent, and way more shareable. When we feel something strongly, we're much more likely to believe it and, you guessed it, to share it. All right, let's see how this thing builds. A single spark is one thing, but how does it turn into a wildfire that just sweeps across the entire internet? Well, this is where the power of the crowd really comes into play. It's all driven by this incredibly powerful idea called social proof. I mean, think about it. We are bombarded with information every single day, so our brains are desperate for shortcuts. And one of the biggest shortcuts is just looking around to see what everyone else is doing. If a post has thousands of likes or a video has millions of views, our brain just instinctively tags it as important, as something worth our time. It's the digital version of the bandwagon effect, and it's all fueled by that deep, nagging fear of missing out. And you can see social proof playing out everywhere. It can be super local, like a weird neighborhood dog trend, where one person gets a Shih Tzu and suddenly, bam, they're everywhere. Or it can be a massive global thing, like the Ice Bucket Challenge, which just spread like crazy through pure imitation. And memes? Memes like the distracted boyfriend are the perfect example of what you might call social currency. When you share one, you're not just sharing a joke. You're signaling to your friends that you're in the know, you're witty, you're part of the in-group. So we've got the psychological spark, and we've got the social fuel. But there's a third, kind of invisible force at play here, the code itself. Let's take a look at the technology that's specifically designed to turn these small fires into absolute infernos. The platforms we use every day are built on algorithms, and their number one job is to keep us engaged. And how do they do that? By learning what grabs our attention. And because of our well-documented bias towards negativity, things that are polarizing or shocking or just plain outrageous tend to get more clicks and more shares. The algorithm sees this, and it pushes that content higher and higher in your feed, creating this really powerful feedback loop. And here's the crazy part. Creators are now designing content specifically to exploit this system. Take the Group 7 trend on TikTok. The entire point was to make you feel like the algorithm had specially chosen you. This creates this feeling of exclusivity, and it makes you want to prove you're in the club by watching the whole video, by commenting, by sharing. All the key signals that tell the algorithm, hey, show this to even more people. The trend itself became the product. Beyond just the algorithms, the very design of the apps we use can be manipulative. This is where we run into something called dark patterns. And let's be super clear. These are not mistakes. They're not bugs. They are carefully engineered psychological tactics designed to get you to do things you might not want to do, like share more of your data or just stay on the app for way longer than you planned. So what do these actually look like? Well, there's the Roach Motel, where it's super easy to sign up for something but almost impossible to cancel. There's confirm shaming, which uses guilt with those little messages like, no thanks, I hate saving money. And then there's privacy zuckering, which was famously named after Mark Zuckerberg, that tricks you into sharing way more personal info than you ever meant to. It's a whole new vocabulary, and seriously, once you learn it, you start seeing these patterns absolutely everywhere. Okay, we've seen how the hook is baited with our own psychology and then amplified by technology. But what's the actual cost of being hooked? I mean, what is the price we're all paying for this constant engagement? To get a handle on this, let's turn to some cold, hard data. Researchers at Stanford University ran an experiment to try and quantify the effects of our digital habits. And, well, what they found is pretty eye-opening. 31%. According to their model, nearly a third of all the time we spend on major social media apps isn't time we choose to spend. It's time we spend because we just can't stop. So for every 3 hours you find yourself scrolling, one of those hours is time you probably wish you had back. It's a real, quantifiable measure of that just one more video feeling. And the costs are so tangible. This chart from the same study shows the direct impact on our well-being. People in the study who cut back on their use reported statistically significant improvements. They could concentrate better, they were less easily distracted, and they even slept better. It's a direct line connecting all that screen time to a decline in our ability to focus and even just get a good night's rest. But the cost isn't just personal, it's societal. These algorithms and our own biases, they trap us in echo chambers. And yeah, being surrounded by people who agree with us can feel comforting, but it also stops us from thinking critically or seeking out objective truth. This leads to this fragmented reality, where your truth and my truth might be completely different, which makes getting along as a society that much harder. So now you've seen the playbook. You know the emotional triggers, you understand social proof, and you can spot the manipulative designs that are all working to grab your attention. The real question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Now that you can see the hook, can you choose not to bite?